I still believe this project is maintained just for corruption.
Wow.
What does it mean? It does mean that the BI print money to fill the gap between what the government gets from the taxes and what the government spends.
Which will create inflation, right?
Something like that,
Welcome back, Weeboos, to the What Is Up Indonesia podcast with me, your co-host Ando Vida Lopez.
And me, Abigail Limuria.
And because of our today's very special guest, we will be wearing sunglasses.
For
Right?
the entire podcast.
Yes. Why? Because Indonesia gelap.
Benar.
Right? I took that joke from Abigail, by the way, just so you guys know.
Memang benar.
Yeah. So,
No, but for real. It's because our guest always wear his signature sunglasses. So I think we should match him.
Yes, so we're matching the vibes. Please welcome our guest for today, Prof. Ferry Latuhi.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you also for inviting me. I'm afraid my English is quite poor,
No,
It's okay.
You
No,
speak
it's
English.
not.
This is the very first time that I'm invited and I have to do it in English.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I think
it's
you'll do
okay?
fine.
Oh, no, fine. Okay. Thank you so much. What are we gonna talk about?
We're going to talk about many things.
Yes.
Many
Okay?
things.
And I'm going to start off the question quite hot.
Yes.
Okay, before I ask about your background,
Oh, dear.
maybe for our viewers who don't know you,
Okay.
I want to ask a question that's on my mind and on every single young generation's mind.
Yes, all over the world.
Prof, what the fuck is going on in Indonesia right now?
Wow, Indonesia.
Everyone is so confused, and excuse my language.
Well,
Excuse my language, but that's in my feeling.
Okay. I agree with you when you said that Indonesia is gelap, At least our future is gelap, So many problems that we have to cope with. And especially with this regime, with this government, who doesn't know, who has no slightest notion at all of how to build the economy in the very first place. I would say, right? So once the basic of our foundation, that's the economy, it is not so good and the outlook is also quite gloomy, quite grim, then I may say, and everyone, I think, has the right to say that Indonesia is gelap.
So you think it's reasonable to say that?
Yeah, of course, I have many reasons to say something, that it is gelap or it is bright, Just take a look at numbers. For example, economic growth of 5.6%, and the new released in Q2, 5.29%. I do not believe that it is so high. I do not trust the number at all. Because if you look at the reality, the everyday life, it doesn't reflect that the economy is growing so high. I'm afraid the numbers are manipulated as well. Politically speaking, it is possible to manipulate the numbers, That's just take a look at the daily life, We are not improving at all. We are not improving at all. Many people still suffering from poverty. Many people are jobless. People working on the formal sector, it's less than half of our workforce population, The rest is tukang bakso, tukang bubur, tukang ojek, How could you say that the economy is fine? No, not at all.
Okay. That is very interesting because you went straight out of the gate and you said it. Like you didn't mince any words. I love
He
that
did
you
not
said
stutter.
he did not stutter. He said that data can be manipulated. Even though a certain person who was arguing with the Masiswi recently was like, datanya mana? Datanya mana? I have all the data and whatever. Okay, but before because we do want to deep dive into this.
Yeah.
But please, maybe for our viewers who don't know you, what is your background, right? When you have a title of prof, what are you a professor of? How come you're so into economics? Like, please explain.
I think there is no special thing to tell about me.
There must be. Please do.
I'm just an ordinary person. I did
He's being humble.
nothing special to mention. Just a bit probably. I did my study first philosophy in Amsterdam. It was years ago in the 80s,
Oh, philosophy
Yes,
in Amsterdam.
philosophy. And suddenly my mom called me, hey, my friend, you want to be dukun when you come back, you do philosophy. So I switched to econometrics. Econometrics is pure math, you know. So I switched to Rotterdam. I did econometrics and financial economics. And in 1995, I came back. I decided to go back to my home in Jakarta. And I became lecturer all over the country, you know, from Medan to Unsrat, Manado. And I did it with passion, basically, you know. And suddenly when Krismon broke out, Krismon 97, I brought my students to DPR. And when I was back to the campus, I was dipecat, you know. I was fired, you know. You must not do that. Kan? And it opened the door, basically. It opened the door to the capital market. I joined the Anareksa Research Institute in 2000, also, no, in 1999. And 5 years at the Anareksa, no, 1 year in the Anareksa, I was sent to Lehman Brothers in New York, you know, big investment bank. Late Lehman Brothers, because it has died, you know, in 2006. Yes, exactly. And in 2004, I joined, I was offered by BII as chief economist, Bank International Indonesia. And thereafter, traveling around, you know. I had my own business. I built listrik, di Kalimantan, and then I joined PPA Capital as chief economist again, and so on and so on. And now I have my own small consulting firm, you know, in Kuningan, with a lot of my students, former students, you know. For fundraising, business restructuring, something like that. I stay in the capital market.
Okay. Wow, that's a deep from philosophy to economics.
Because he doesn't want to be dukun.
Yeah.
I'm really stuck here.
Wow. So you must have such an interesting perspective on Indonesian economics, because not only do you study it theoretically, you've practically went through our Indonesian history of economics back
That's
in the
true.
97 Krismon,
Yeah.
all up until now. And maybe one of the things that I really confuse young people is people always compare us now to, are we heading into a crisis?
Another
Yeah.
98.
Are we
yeah.
doing another 97, 98?
Yes.
Does that feel that way, or is it different? Or can
Yeah,
you please enlighten us, please?
Yeah, there are some signals, you know, that probably the condition today will lead finally to the same crisis like we had almost 30 years ago, you know, Krismon 78. For example, if you look at the dollar, rupiah stays under pressure every single day, you know, and rupiah is reflecting the trust to every nation, the mata uang, the currency, And some weeks ago, probably if you look at the Medsos Sell Indonesia, you know, and capital flight is quite massive. You know, every single day BI should intervene to keep the dollar below 18,000. You know, so strong signals that our economy in the very first place is not in a good shape at all. You know, it is in a bad shape, and also a strong signal that foreign capital will not be back, probably until this regime pass away.
Wow.
And, because in the very first place, many investors, foreign as well as domestic, are quite frustrated with the policy launched by this regime, you know. That's the reason why I still believe that the dollar probably is going to 25K in the Q4, you know. Once it reaches that level, it is quite likely that it's gonna lead to the crisis.
Oh wow. So what?
That's my brief story about that. You know.
So I heard a couple of times, right, Prof? You mentioned that our problem is no longer the fundamentals, but it's more psychological.
Exactly.
Can you explain more what you mean by that?
Well, it is probably when it comes to fundamental economy, basically we are not so rapuh, you know, we are not so weak. like years ago when it was the time of the crisis. Our economic fundamental is in a bad shape indeed, but the problem is again the trust to the government. Yeah, because the policy that the government would like to launch in the economy is, for example, MBG, it is burning money. KDMP, it is burning money.
KDMP is
and the stance of our president, in my eyes, is as if he is against a business. He is pro rakyat. For example, I take an example, ojol, for example, operator. And suddenly the president decided to cut the commission fee from 20% to 8%. Come on, what you can imagine if the operator say no, I can no longer afford it. The operating cost is so high, and I cannot cover it, and 7 million people will be at stake. 7 juta to sopir ojol at stake. That's the problem. And second, probably you have heard about ekspor satu pintu PTDS.
Yes.
How to deal with so many exporters of batu bara, of sawit, more than 1,000 probably. I don't think that the PTDS can manage it someday. And it is threatening our balance of payment. And once we have the chaos of balance of payment, we have no dollar again, because you must remember, you should not forget that the biggest item we are exporting is commodity, commodity, not manufacturing, Now, once it is threatened by the regulation of the government,
But wasn't his defense, because I remember this whole satu pintu thing, export, wasn't his argument that ini untuk menggagakan kebocoran, right? There's so many leakages.
Over invoicing.
Over invoicing, under invoicing.
Under invoicing.
I mean, is that true? Is there truth in that?
Suppose it is the fact. Suppose it is the fact that under invoicing is indeed the fact. I think there are many options. There are no ways to tackle that problem, Not the one that, we have to set up an entity, so exporters should, the export should go through our door, No, like in the 80s when Suharto was still in power at the time, we had the same problem with Bea Cukai. But what Suharto did at that time, Suharto hired a consulting firm from Switzerland. To handle this problem, So what you need is a consulting as well, not a special entity, where our exports should go through that entity before they go to the importer. It is a wrong device, I believe, and it can threaten our balance of payment in the sense that our export probably will go down. Once our import is higher than our export, we have a balance of payment crisis, right?
Prof, so I heard you mentioned that a lot of the investors are frustrated with the current government, and that is causing the trust issue, right? Is it because the policy itself is bad, or is it because it keeps changing?
Well, the policy, I think I have to start from the very first day what the president has in mind. He always say, I am pro-rakyat, I am pro-rakyat. I tell everyone it is wrong, because rakyat does not create jobs. What create jobs is the firms, right? The companies, so you have to give incentives to the firms and to the government to create jobs for the jobless people, especially. Now that is an ideological issue.
I see.
And that is an ideological issue. The starting point, you should take it. This is an ideological issue. Well, I don't know what the president has in mind, but any time I heard his speech, always pro-rakyat, as if what he has in mind is a sort of socialism, probably. And we know everywhere socialism has died, since the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989. '89, the fall of the Berlin. It is the beginning of the death of socialism. Even China today, it has become capitalism. Even Vietnam also, it has become a free market economy. And the government should play a role as minimum as possible. Do not involve too much in the economic activity of a country. Give space more to the private sector, and government should retreat. And I'm fighting for a lower rate of taxes to get it out of the ground, right?
So I see there's an ideological problem between.
That's an ideological problem.
So unless this ideological problem is not addressed, then there won't be any shift in.
Exactly, you are right. That's the point. No, I'm pretty sure of that. Indonesia, probably outside there, offshore. A friend of mine is invited by JP Morgan to Europe. What the institutional investor like pension funds say to my friend. In our eyes, Indonesia is non-investment grade.
Non-investment grade.
Though the rating agencies still maintain that we are rated triple B, meaning investment grade. But the fact, de facto, we have become non-investment grade country, And so they reduce the tactical asset allocation from 2% to only 0.5%, something like that.
Okay.
And the main reason for that is
risky. Indonesia
we're too
is
risky.
Yes, Indonesia is a highly risky country. Risk matters a lot when you talk about investment, right?
Yeah.
Not the return only.
Okay. So I suspect for those who are watching who are not that familiar with economy, you earlier mentioned that actually our fundamentals is pretty strong.
Yeah, not pretty strong. It is not.
It's quite okay.
It's quite
okay because a lot of the pejabat mentioned, right? Oh, our fundamental is okay, is strong. So you say that it is actually, there's somewhat truth in that.
Yes.
So can you maybe explain what that means? And the issue then is the trust, right? Because I bet a lot of those who are watching, they can't really distinguish between that.
Yes, the trust, it plays on a psychological level, on not on the cognitive level.
Okay.
And when it is on the cognitive level, you may say, okay, look at our APBN, for example. It is still okay. The deficit is still below 3%, for example. Our economic growth is not so bad. Okay, you don't trust the number, 5.2%. Let's reduce it to 4%. It's just still okay, But the question is again, what policy actually you have in mind to check up the economic growth? When the policy is wrong, for example, when you say, okay, we have no money again, we raise taxes, come on, everyone get burned. Right, something like that, And once they say, okay, fine, I'm okay with your ideas, and tomorrow you never know what will be said again.
Right.
Yeah, because it keeps on changing.
Yes, they keep on changing.
Okay.
Like you said, So when there is no trust, then you may say, that's the end of the world.
Okay. So another thing that I pay attention, Prof. It seems like the country is very desperate for money.
Exactly.
Right? Because we have a lot of expenses, like you mentioned.
So they have the idea of issuing Patriot bonds.
Exactly. There's so many bonds. Panda bond, Merah Putih bond, Patriot bond, like so many bonds.
Yang kita kurang James Bond. I was waiting for that joke. Yes, it landed. Yes, that joke landed. Yes, okay.
Yeah, because they are so desperate to get the money, so they open the door also to dirty money through Patriot bond. Protected by undang-undang P2SK pasal 50A. The buyers of Patriot and Patriot bond, Merah Putih bond, will not be issued for any crime,
Yeah, it will not be pursued, right?
It will not be pursued,
in the criminal court.
And everyone knows, I'm afraid, even you got a headline in Bloomberg, Prabowo opens the door to dirty money. Come on, man. So what a shame, actually, basically,
And what's crazy is it seems like it's not that nobody is really buying it also, right? Like some people are, but it's not that nggak laku-laku banget juga, gitu, right?
Because you know what, when I have dirty money, also I have to doubt it as well, whether to put it or not. Because of what, once I do it, I put my money in that bond, they can say, "Come on, man, you are dirty money. I'm not gonna give it you back. Give it back to you, right?"
Yeah. It's like a trap.
Pasal 50 will be scrap, protecting the dirty money, So. You are right. There will be no one, who wants to buy that bond, Especially when the coupon is only far below the deposit rate 2%. Siapa yang mau? Who wants to buy it?
Yeah, it's not very profitable, also, right?
You'd better put your money in deposit, and the bank can give you 4 and to 5%. Instead of just 2%.
That makes complete sense.
It doesn't make sense at all.
Right.
It is insulting our intelligence, right?
I mean, doesn't that speak volume? Like, they already give that much incentive, they give that much promises, and yet people are still don't believe it enough to actually buy it. And recently, there's also the PFEE
bill incentive.
No, come on, forget it, man.
It's supposed to be like a tax haven.
Corporate tax reduction up to 100% for corporate income tax.
It won't
That's
work.
crazy benefits that they are offering, right?
It won't work.
Personal
income tax relief. Foreign experts working in financial services all qualify for 100% income tax reduction.
No one trusted.
No one trusted.
No. Because, as we said earlier, every day regulation can change.
Yeah.
Who wants to trust you if you change your mind every day?
Yeah.
Who wants to deal with you?
Yeah.
That's the problem. In the second place, what we need is not such a thing like that. What we need is foreign direct investment to create jobs for the jobless people. It doesn't create jobs at all.
Right, but I feel like, again, not an economist, I don't understand the economy, but if one of the solutions is to get foreign direct investment, but then as a normal citizen, I'm like, my president always says, "Hey, antek asing, hey, fuck you foreigners." So I'm confused. Like, so are we against them or are we for them? I'm okay for whatever. Can we just pick a side? Are we anti or pro?
Yeah. Simple. Basically, it is quite simple what the president does. With antek asing. If he doesn't like you, he said that. You are antek asing.
So just basically, if he doesn't like
just
anything.
a matter of like and dislike. There is no fact behind it at all.
Wow. So if he drinks his coffee, he doesn't like the coffee. Antek asing.
Antek asing this coffee.
Antek asing.
Yeah.
Well, not mine, because Matt for coffee is the best. No, I'm just kidding.
And it's Indonesia.
Dude, that's the logic behind it. It's not about like, it's like if he doesn't like it.
There is no fact at all. There is no evidence at all. I don't like you. You're antek asing.
It's like a slur word. Like, antek asing.
Oh my god.
Well, now it's Londo
ireng. Yeah, absolutely.
Childish, isn't it?
Oh wow.
Wow.
It is, but this is okay. Now this is going. Okay, let's go back before I go in too much into politics.
Okay.
Let's go back into economics. Okay, I want to know your opinion on the recent resignation of Gubernur Bank Indonesia. Right?
Yes.
Pak Peri.
I think politics plays a role in it, because we are in the eyes of, for example, special person I have to mention, Purbaya, Menteri Keuangan. I believe he doesn't want the central bank to be independent again, to stay independent, But central bank BI should become a part of the government, shooting not only of the stability of the currency rupiah, but also shooting of growth. Basically it is beyond the central bank domain. Growth. So one of the other ways to make it non-independent again, you should remove Perry Warjio. For example, you know what? Basically, BI has become the tool of the government. For example, the SBN, and now the portion that BI has in the total outstanding SBN, almost 30% of the total outstanding is in the hand of BI, Bank Indonesia. While foreign investor has been shrinking over the last 4 years from 40% to 12%.
Wow.
And what does it mean? It does mean that the BI print money, print money to fill the gap between what the government gets from the taxes and what the government spends.
Which will create inflation, right?
Something like that. It is quite dangerous. BI, a central bank,
has to be independent.
Has to be independent. Otherwise, when no one trusts you, when no one trusts your currency, because the central bank can print money anytime the government needs, dollar can go to the sky, man.
So you're saying that the resignation of Pak Perry is a politically charged move?
Yes, it is politically
to make BI no longer as independent
in the very first place.
So recently, right? Speaking of Pak Purbaya, he mentioned that there's a lot of criticism about Indonesia's economy, about his policy, and he said everyone's wrong. He's right, and he said that he, as a minister, he still managed to keep Indonesia's economy somewhat stable in the midst of all these crisis and craziness going on, like the war and like domestic demonstration and things like that. So what do you think?
Again and again, I think the root of all evil is the ideology.
So can you repeat that? The root of all evil is?
It's the ideology.
The ideology.
I do not trust anyone who says, okay, I'm fighting for the people. That must be a big bullshit.
Why?
The people will survive without you.
Wow.
So I need to ask this, Prof. So everyone knows that you were the Dewan Pakar for Prabowo during the presidential election, right? But now it seems like you're very against a lot of his policies and even his ideology. Right? Can you explain how that switch happened?
Everything. No one can hold me.
Okay.
You cannot hold me when I believe what you are doing is wrong. Okay.
I love it.
Right. I kick you out as my friend.
Wow.
Like this, for example.
Okay.
Indeed, I belong to Dewan Pakar. But once the campaign is over, the president is already installed, right? I want to see what policy now you bring to the economy.
Right.
When I think now this is not good at all, well, we will become the victim of this policy. Then it is my right to get out of the club.
So I'm very curious. You criticized MBG, right? But during the campaign, Prabowo already mentioned
I
MBG.
thought it was just a tool for campaign.
You didn't think he would actually do it?
Yes, I didn't think that it would be implemented.
Okay. I see.
Because again, it was insulting my intelligence in the sense the amount so high. And I wonder where does the money come from?
So you thought it was a pragmatic campaign?
Exactly.
Okay, let's get the votes.
But
then once we get into it, we'll make it.
Yes. Once you have won the election, I believe it will not be implemented. But in fact, it is implemented. In TV channel, YouTube channel, I say this is burning money. This would be bancakan. Stop that. And it happened. It is proven.
It's proven.
Dadan Hindayana.
Yes.
Yeah, this is corruption, huge corruption. Lagi juga, you know what? When Prabowo says it is investment, I don't know siapa yang ngebisikin. It is not
MBG as investment.
It is not investment at all. Investment, two things of intangible. Tangible like bridge, jalanan, airport, haven, waduk, intangible, pendidikan, education, research and development, health, makan man, come on, masuk di sini, what investment, what? Investment mode. And not all people needs it. Right. And now you have 40,000 more than keracunan, kan. Dan this is not a good project. I still believe this project is maintained just for corruption.
Wow. Cut that on TikTok. Cut that on Instagram. That is. I mean, listen. Like, Prof, thank you. Look, if I say such things, I 1000% agree with you. But if I say such things, who am I? I'm just a content creator. I'm just an entertainer. I have no economics background.
Yes.
But it holds so much weight when someone like you says it.
Yeah.
Now,
and especially who were once in the team.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right? Now, with all that being said, there's a reason why people were scared of Tom Lembong, for example.
Yeah.
Because Tom Lembong holds the ears of many foreign investors.
Yes.
Now, what I'm trying to make my point is, why aren't you scared? Because you're just spitting fire, right?
Yes.
I'm sure they're like, yo, Prof, can you shut up? I'm sure these higher ups are like, Prof, come on, stop it. You're being too much. Aren't you scared? I mean, like, I know you're not scared. I know you're not scared.
And
but
then,
like,
didn't you just get like a call from like the tax?
No. No one has called me at all.
Okay.
No one has threatened me. No one. It's going fine with me. So I keep telling you the truth every day. And why is the reason that no one calls me? Because they know that I'm a single fighter. I have no one behind me. No single political party. No LSM, and I have no interest in politics as well. So why you call me? To stop my narrative, to stop my telling the truth, there is no reason. I'm not a dangerous person. What I'm telling you, what I'm telling the people through the podcast, through the TV channel is the truth. If you don't agree with my statement, just discuss it.
right.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
So I'm very curious. You just recently started going on podcasts, a lot of podcasts, right? You also even have your own YouTube channel where you create content. So why now? Why do you suddenly decide, you know what, I need to speak to the public now?
Well, basically, it's a long way ago that I speak to the public. Between 2000 and 2010, I was the most popular analyst in this country.
Okay. And then you stop.
And then you stop suddenly.
Okay.
And at the time also, I was the most expensive analyst at that time. And I was the only analyst interviewed by the Washington Post at that time. And now I have an agenda also with the Financial Times next week. They want to interview me, No, telling the truth, speaking to the public is my passion as well. And it is like I'm teaching in the class, everywhere. I am invited by UGM, by ITS, for example. I come to Jogja, I come to Surabaya, because it is my passion in the very first place, So when I go to the class, I come in the class, I tell everyone, I'm not going to teach you. I'm gonna dance,
Just like how they won the election, right? Through dancing. I see. But Prof, listen, okay. Just like anything, just like philosophy and economics, there's always another viewpoint and alternative and perspective.
Yes.
Right? And I'm sure you have your strength and foundations on what your point. But is there anything on the other side that maybe holds some merit?
Okay.
Like anything at all?
My advice is this.
Okay.
Very simple. We all know that the outlook, the economic outlook is grim, We are living in a very uncertain world, You see, if you look at, for example, the oil prices, geopolitical tension in the Middle East, we have APBN kedodoran, so things look very bad, What the government should do, in my eyes, as an option to make things better, for example, just, for example, reform the bureaucracy. There is no single country in the world with 110 menteri and wakil menteri. This is the only country. You need technocrats like in the time of Suharto. When Sukarno fell, Suharto came to the power. Yes. The very first thing Suharto did is hire the technocrats.
Right. Capable people.
Yes, Wijaya, Niti Sastro, Sumitro, and so on. Emil Salim. sekarang siapa? I don't know. No one yang di kabinet I know, they are political people only, not Democrats at all. Ya kan? Karena,
not even one, Prof.
No one. The only one that I know very good because it is he is also my close friend, Budi Gunadi Sadikin, Menteri Kesehatan.
Yes, physics.
He is the only one capable of doing the job.
Right.
Yeah, really.
If you became Menteri Keuangan, you replace Purbaya.
If.
Well, the very first thing that I have in mind, that
sure.
Surabaya, I do not believe that Surabaya can do it.
Yeah.
You know what? Tax reform.
Tax reform. That's the first thing you will do. Tax
exactly.
reform.
It is
into what?
Yeah. For example, Vietnam, when it is reduced the PPN pajak pertimbangan nilai from 10 to 8%, it helps the economy growing up so high, 8.2%. Tax matters, So now the companies everywhere in Indonesia, are at the point, at the point to fire the employee, because of what? Because the sales go down, the net income also go down. What they need is a treatment of the tax treatment, better tax treatment, so they can keep their labor force at home.
Okay, so reduce the tax.
You reduce the taxes, and by reducing the taxes, you reduces the size of the government as well. Jadi nggak bisa boros lagi, like 110 menteri, wakil menteri, itu kan pemborosan.
So you slim down the cabinet.
Yes, you have to slim down. So what we need is a smaller government in the sense of the capacity of spending money.
Right.
Because of what? Tax is simple. It's a zero-sum game. When the government takes your money, the government spends.
Right.
When they do not do it, you spend.
Right? That's 1,000% true.
Yes.
That's 1,000% true.
The question is, your spending or the government's spending matters a lot for the economy.
Right.
That's
1,000%.
And as we know, the government spends for what? MBG.
Yeah.
Right.
It is burning money.
Right.
So, what better is, you do not tax me, I spend my money for investment or for consumption. I'm not gonna burn my money. Right?
Okay.
That's the reason why I'm fighting for a smaller government.
I see.
Right, I see.
In the sense that you give more space, you give more room to the private sector for the economic activity, either to invest or to consume. A larger room and smaller room for the government.
I see.
It has nothing to do with liberalism, capitalism. No, it is a pragmatic approach, to keep the economy
afloat.
Afloat.
Yeah.
That's why I did.
So by default, do you mean you will also, if you are, you have the authority, you will cut also the expensive programs?
Oh yes, of course it is.
What programs would you cut?
Yes, MBG, KDMP, because again they are burning money
They're
only.
burning money. Yeah.
They are burning like Kopras, to build such a project. What you need is piloting first.
Right. Exactly,
You start with 10 koperasi, you see first how it works. You learn how it works. Baru, and then once you know that it works very well, just a matter of time, you scale up. From 10 to 20. Ini kan langsung 83,000. And where does the money come from?
Tax money, our money.
Yes, our money. First himbara. You give the credit, you give the loan to koperasi. Once the koperasi fails to give the money back, the government is back up. APBN again. And at the end, APBN, it is your money.
Right.
So would you say then, according to your answer, right, you would you would slim down the cabinet, you would reduce the government spending from expensive programs, so then you can reduce taxes, right? So does that mean, would you say, like, if the government just stops spending so much, then we'll be on the right track?
Yeah.
That's the only the biggest issue.
You can imagine budget approved by DPR for MBG next year, in 2027, it amounted to 270 trillion. It's a huge amount of money, you know. You can build a better or much better transportation system. Ini dibakar kan. That's no good, you know. What I don't understand, why the president keep fighting for that?
That's what we're all asking.
Isn't it just bread and circus, right? Like the Romans did. Isn't it? He's trying to give bread because it's the. You gotta give people who eat him are gonna not eat him. Eat the food are gonna vote in for 2029, right?
Yeah.
Isn't it simple? The Romans bread and circus.
Yeah, it can be the case. Indeed, it is. I believe what you say just now. It is what the Prabowo has in mind. Probably it is a sort of I give you a sort of apa sih namanya itu ijon ya.
Right. Yeah.
And you will choose me again.
And it's like if 2029 comes again and if he runs again, he has so many people that are indebted to him. All the Kopdes managers, all the dapurs. So they have to vote for him.
Yes, that is the trick, a fishy trick, a dirty trick. Basically, politics is fish, dirty,
So for everyone who are like, you mentioned that the outlook, the trajectory seems bleak, right? And we might be heading towards a crisis.
Yes.
You said like dollar might be 22,000 and whatnot. So if say like full blown crisis, dollar 25,000 is like stage 5 cancer, right? What stage are we in right now, do you think?
Well, if it indeed happens in the near future, I believe that we will have to cope with a very, very severe economic problem because we have no saving. We need outside money.
Yeah.
We need foreign direct investment. And the problem is, again, that our democracy is a problem in itself because every 5 years, investor does not know who will be the leader. Now, when I put my money, for example, I build fabric, for example, direct investment. You know what? Probably I get back my money in 7 years, more than years. If every 5 years you don't know, it's just somebody change, then you don't know.
And they change like the whole thing.
That's the reason why I said that India is a foreigner. Indonesia is high risk country.
Okay, interesting.
So that's interesting. So going off on that, so going with for example, not the China model where the leader is always far Xi Jinping.
Yes.
I mean, it's so funny. The reason why we put term limits is because historically we learned that absolute power corrupts absolutely. So leaders cannot stay as long. But you feel that in this day and age, I mean, of course there are many negative things about President Xi, but clearly China is doing well. There's stability, right? They know that whatever the Communist Party of China says, the country will keep on.
Betul, like Vietnam as well,
Like Vietnam as well, yeah, you're right.
Sekarang kan the problem now today is, again, the stability on the political stage is also at stake, Everyone knows, for example, now the rumors going around that Prabowo had to cut it and Gibran, and it creates a sort of political uncertainty, political instability in this, and it is no good for investment, Back to your question tadi, once the dollar goes to 25,000, it creates crisis again, like Chris Mon 27 years ago. What will happen next? I believe what we will see is a long-lasting economic
recession,
disaster.
Long-lasting How
economic
long?
disaster.
Probably 10 years, 20 years, because like a Latin American country, as an example, it is the root of all evil is again politics over there, And now we cannot. For example, we cannot go back to the authoritarian regime again. You know, democracy should stay there, and while the democracy, you know, it creates its own problem. You know,
right.
And you may not say, okay, we have to copy that country, the model of that country. No, not as easy as that. As probably you may quote what Leo Tolstoy said: "Happy families are all alike." But each unhappy family is unhappy in itself, in its own. Right? Like that. That's.
So
I think it applies to any country. As well.
So meaning like a prosperous country are all alike, but those who are struggling are uniquely struggling.
Wow.
So
Jadi nggak gampang. It's not easy.
That was his philosophy major going up. That was I haven't heard anyone quote Leo Tolstoy in a long time. Wow.
props. So like for everyone's watching, right? You mentioned that we might be heading towards a long-term economic disaster and very serious. Like, what are the signs that we need to pay attention? Maybe we have been seeing it now, but what are the other signs that we need to keep looking out for?
Yes, dollar.
Okay.
Because the currency is reflecting how healthy your economy is.
Okay.
So like what Lenin said, if you want to see Indonesia goes broke, for example, or a nation goes broke, just attack his currency. That's it.
I see. How bad do you think it can get? Do you think it reached a point? Because some people are like, oh, Indonesia bakal bubar nih gitu. How bad will it get, you think?
I think I have to put it in terms of probability. You know?
Yes,
the probability is higher than 50%. Probably in my eyes. It is my instinct as an economist. The probability is 80% that the dollar is going to 25K in Q4. So the government should be cautious of that.
I see.
Really. In 2025, in January, when it was still hovering around 15,000, 400, I told everyone, buy dollar. It goes to 17,000. And it happens even higher than 17,000.
Right.
You know? I told everyone, you know, what this MBG will likely lead to the downgrade of our sovereign rating. And it happened. Really. When indeks harga saham gabungan was at 9,000 at the end of last year, December, I told everyone, sell. It's gonna crash, and it happened. And now it's like 6,000, struggling around that.
Yeah.
More than 30%. You know, and though I can get it wrong,
Yes,
you know,
yes,
I'm not dukun, you know.
Because you switched to economy.
I still believe the probability is high. Probably, in terms of statistic, 80%. I still believe the dollar 25,000 in Q4.
So Q4 is November, December, October,
yes,
November, December.
November, December.
Damn.
Okay.
Rupiah is struggling, you know.
Very much. And in reverse, right? What are the signs we should look out for if the economy is starting to actually genuinely bounce back?
No, I see no sign at all. I see no sign. It is getting worse and worse, you know. This really, it is getting worse and worse in the sense that our trade deficits, you know, the second month after 72 months, consecutively, kita dapat trade surplus. Suddenly June, itu deficit, trade deficit, and July also, trade deficit, 2 consecutive months, and I'm afraid again that the true number of our economic growth is not higher than 4%.
Right. Because the reality doesn't seem to reflect that.
Exactly.
What kind of a reality should reflect like a 5.2 something percent GDP growth?
For example, the middle income class has been down for the last 5 years, from 557 million people to less than 50, and now I believe it is around 46 million
shrinking
people.
really bad.
Shrinking very well, has been shrinking well.
Yeah.
Also, the savings rate has been shrinking from 3 million middle income class. Now, I still believe it is probably less than 1 million, you know. Though there is a dispute between LPS and Mandiri Research. LPS still will, oh no, orang-orang nggak makan tabungan, look at it. But Mandiri Research say no, they are not makan tabungan, they are makan pinjaman now. You know. Much worse than makan tabungan, right?
Actually, there's a lot of people online who says that, you know what, I think the economy is actually fine because malls are still populated. Yeah, there's still a lot of people going to malls, concerts, and things like that. What do you think?
Just take a look at the survey done by Saiful Murjani. You know, kepuasan publik terhadap kondisi ekonomi down from 40% to 15.7%.
Wow, that's lower than Ganjar's vote.
Yes. The satisfaction towards the performance of the president down. Yeah.
Which I find very crazy because usually, you know, those types of statistics are always positive, right?
The statistics is based, the result of that statistics is based on survey, you know.
Yeah.
Yes, and it is reflecting the current condition today.
Yeah.
All right, Prof. We gotta go to the Weibo questions.
The audience question.
The audience questions. There's a lot here.
Okay.
There's a lot here. From Fadli Erlanda.
Yeah.
Prof, you like to criticize MBG because it affects Indonesia's fiscal. But how if unemployment increase if MBG is stopped? Government expenditure is important for people's economy too.
It doesn't create employment at all.
Okay.
Explain.
Yeah, it doesn't create employment at all. As believed by the government, it would create 19 million jobs. You know, no single job is created. Job created untuk SPPG only because they need people untuk masak, something like that, but not
in general.
In general, you know. And now it is questionable as well. And now the government has no money at all to pay SPPG.
Yeah, I've heard this. A lot of
Jadi,
people are complaining.
if you believe what the government say that it creates jobs, it is wrong. You know, it doesn't, and it is already proven by the survey of KPK. Yeah, only 5% of the money kept rolling down the street. 5% only. From this program, there is no trickle down at all.
Wow.
You know, so I'm fighting that that it is stopped immediately.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's wow. Oh, I like this one from Rizky Fauzi. That's a good one. That's a spicy one.
No? Yep.
From Rizky Fauzi. Kan Prof kenal dengan Rahmat Pambudi dan Dadan Hindayana.
Exactly, betul.
Pas mereka salah argumen atau salah kebijakan, pernah langsung di-chatting nggak? BTW, Rahmat pernah bilang kalau MBG lebih mendesak daripada lapangan kerja.
Iya.
What do you feel about it?
Ya, saya nggak chatting ya. I didn't do it through chatting, tapi I mention it in the TV channel.
Right.
Ya, supaya lebih malu ya. Gitu kan. Kalau chatting kan nggak ada orang lain dengar.
So you just on TV where more shame.
But you don't also like just call him like, hey, like what the hell are you doing? Like, why did you say that?
They don't want to take my phone as well, I believe. You know.
Wow.
Interesting.
There's so many great questions here.
Yeah.
Oh, this is interesting. So from Kusuma Hani 10. Okay. Who is the best person for Governor BI? Do you have any recommendation?
There is no best person as long as BI will not be independent again.
Wow.
There is no.
Fair.
There's no. Yeah, you're right.
Because the point is,
it has to be independent.
Yes.
And I remember early this year, Trump even tried to make it to the. He tried to make the central bank of the U.S.
Yeah.
And then he was like, no, and he stood fast. And
yes.
I remember that, and I remember like even America, Trump is trying, and they're fighting back. Even America, they're fighting back.
Yes.
Okay. Next question. Okay, from Mas Prim, what will you do if the president calls you and wants you in his team or cabinet?
Will you accept?
No.
Okay.
Not at all.
Why?
Not at all. Because I know that I'm not free.
Okay.
Yeah. with my ideas,
Right, because you will go in, you will
I cannot work together with people that
kiss ass every day.
That
Yeah.
Like kiss ass, and with the leader that that doesn't give me room to express myself.
Wow,
Right.
that is so important. You should be with a leader who, in whatever job, not just as a president. If you're a leader of a team, your team should be able to say, "Hey, I think what you're doing is wrong."
Yes.
Yeah,
Here's
and I
my-
mean, what's the use of having like an authority if you can't exercise them, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry.
Okay, so I think this is probably like what a lot of people are currently asking. So from Todestern, what's the hottest asset to invest right now? And I guess to expand on this question, what should we do now?
Well,
right?
I think it depends on the currency, the best currency you have. If your currency base is rupiah, I think the best asset is US dollar, Australian dollar, or Singapore dollar. Don't hold rupiah.
Don't hold rupiah.
Don't hold rupiah. And well, the party of gold, for example, many people also ask me, what about gold?
Yeah.
I think the party is over. Gold,
The party is over.
The party is
Okay.
over because I know the history that why gold was going up from below 2,000 to 5,500, the highest in just over 2 years, because it was basically it was triggered by the Central Bank of China. They wanted to diversify their cadangan devisa, international reserve, and going out of the treasury, coming in gold, but there are hedge fund managers, free riding, I buy as well,
Okay.
But at a certain point, the central bank is not buying gold for capital gain, it is for diversification. When they stop buying gold, the hedge fund, get burned. Bukan get burned, in the sense nyangkut ya
Okay.
dengan gold ya. And now it keeps sliding down to 4,000. I think the gold party is over, I'm afraid it is going down to that 3,500, something like that. But there is no upside again with gold, So if your base currency is rupiah, juga jangan pegang rupiah ya. You better buy gold, buy US dollar or
US
Sing dollar.
Okay.
Okay. What about government bonds?
Government bond, I'm afraid, though there is no default risk, the government will never go bankrupt. Okay, but you
Okay.
have a price risk. Once the yield is going up, because the demand of government issuing again SBN, and the investor asks higher coupon rate, you will bear the price risk. Yield up, price is down.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Okay. So
Ah.
diversify. Don't hold rupiah. Any other advice for the ones watching?
The only thing that worth considering is, in my mind, only dollar.
Okay.
$1. Okay. All right. Not the Chinese yuan, because
No.
yuan.
No,
Because
the dollar.
But isn't
U.S. is still the biggest economy in the strongest.
right? So but isn't like a lot of like analysts, international analysts says that currently America is like sunsetting, right? And there seems to be like there seems to be a shift in power, and China is rising. What do you?
America is still the biggest and the strongest economy in the world. Many people talking about de-dollarization. It is a dream. It takes hundreds and hundreds of years to replace dollar with other currency. There is no single country so powerful like America today. Even yuan. Many people, no, yuan now replaces. No. China don't want to bear the risk. You know what? If you want to see that yuan replacing the dollar, you know what China should do?
What?
China should buy everywhere, everything from everywhere to spread the yuan, as a means of payment.
Okay.
They couldn't afford it, and America did it in the Bretton Woods, after the Second World War.
Yeah.
So everywhere is flat with dollar.
Because before it was pounds.
That before it's found, 200 years pound ruled the globe. You cannot replace the dollar with another currency, even in 100 years from now. It's still strongest.
But do you agree that there are a shift in like the global power from America, from the US to China right now?
Well, to a certain extent, because China is improving every single day. You know, everyone may think of it, but to replace America, not yet. As a superpower in the world, I think it is still a dream. America is too strong, too big, and too powerful.
Is there any other question, maybe?
Terinspirasu. That's his name. Terinspirasu, not Adi. All-time top 3 music band. What's your all-time top 3 music bands?
Siapa?
Your music band.
My music band?
Yeah, your favorite.
Your favorite.
My favorite, top 3.
Yeah.
In this country?
No,
or
any. In this country, abroad.
Okay. What I like the most is Queen.
Okay.
Second, the Rolling Stones.
Okay.
And the of course, my generation, Deep Purple.
Okay.
So Queen, Rolling Stones, Deep Purple. Okay.
There's one question you want to ask?
I just want to ask Professor.
Yeah.
No need.
No.
It's fine.
Okay.
So the currency is weak right now, Indonesian rupiah, right?
Yeah.
But we are a commodity producing country.
Yes.
So some says that we should be benefiting from that weak currency due to our commodity centric economy. Will that happen, or why it's not happening yet? Right now, what stops it from happening?
No single good we can export, other than commodities, because we cannot rely on manufacturing. China can make everything, we cannot compete with China. And now the only thing that we can export to get the devisa, to get the dollar, are commodities, sawit, batu bara, coal, nickel, and so on and so on. Now, once it is disturbed by the device of PTDSE, so I'm afraid it will create balance of payment crisis, We will see again Krismon to 98. That's the reason also that the S&P, Standard & Poor's, warned the government, you should be cautious with this device, PTDSE, because it would lead to crisis when it is not managed very well.
So the one-door policy is right?
One-door
But it's not yet enacted, right, Prof?
Yeah, no. It is enacted in the sense that now, this year, until the end of this year, it is functioning as oversight body only. Beginning 2000 next year.
Okay.
So
it's okay. I see. So because of that, a lot of like foreign investor or maybe even like exporters are like treading the waters and like waiting and just being confused about like how this
they have no incentive again. Just let it be. Just let it be. Again, like that.
Okay.
It looks like that. Okay. Enough.
Anything else?
Nothing. Just. Thank you.
You can call me again, And
Last question. Okay, last question. So can you maybe saying like what should we do is hard? Can you tell us maybe like 3 things we should not do going forward?
Yeah, okay. So push the mic closer to your and then say to the camera, what should we not do?
Okay, I don't know. We have no option at all as a citizen. Yes, we have no option. A lot of option goes to the government. Basically, we have no. As a citizen, we have no option as well. So one thing, when the economy is in a very bad shape, when our incomes will go down, we have less and less to spend. No money again. The only thing that you can do, that you have to do it as well. Just arrange your spending is not higher than your income.
Adjust your spending.
Yes, we have no option.
Personal finance, right? Just take care of your personal finances going forward. Okay. Sorry. Literally last. We asked to a couple of our guests. What is the worst advice you have ever received?
You have ever received from somebody?
From somebody that you think should not be followed. Worst advice.
Worst advice to me?
Yes.
Not that you gave, but someone gave to you.
Yeah.
Yes, the worst advice is that I have to reduce my tone.
All right.
I like that.
Thank you so much, bro.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you for watching. See
Thank you, Ibu.
Take care. Take care.